What is happening, people? Welcome back to my Formula One channel. Welcome to Peter on Pole. My name is Peter in pole position, and this is my first, ladies and gentlemen, my first ever live watch along of, first of all, the qualifying of the United States Grand Prix. And I'll be doing a live watch along tomorrow for the race as well. Now, this feels very, very weird. It is quarter to 10 p.m. in the UK, and I actually feel kind of this feels nice. This feels good. Like I'm actually liking the fact that it's a different time. It's not always the 2 o'clock, the 1 o'clock in the afternoon. Um, when we go to like places like Brazil and so on and so forth, or even like when we go to Australia, I love like the really early morning ones, Japan and things of that nature. But listen, it is good to be here. It's good to be joined by all of you guys. It's good to interact with you guys. Remember, this is an interactive show. So please bring on your comments. If you want to join the live stream as well, I've got the link. Just say, yo, let me jump in. So yeah, I thought I'll just get us 50 minutes until till Q1. But yeah, I thought I have a few questions for you this weekend. Who will take pole position this weekend? Who will take it on tonight, today, wherever you are watching from? Who's going to go on pole position? That's the question I've got for you guys. And yeah, it should be very, very interesting. Red Bull, by the way, in FP2 and 3, looking good. Sergio Perez on top of the charts yet again in FP3 as he was yesterday in FP2. So it looks like the Red Bulls have come to play. And the Mercedes look quick anyway. So this is looking really good for a very interesting qualifying session ahead of the United States Grand Prix. As well, just as you can see on the comment on the banner down there below, that this is a daily streaming, daily podcast, interactive stuff. So of course, have your say and come and join me on the stream if you want to as well. Don't forget if to smash the like button and to subscribe to the channel if you're a fan of Formula One, if you love doing Formula One content, if you like hearing about Formula One content, if you like talking about F1, really and truly, and you like this sort of content, do hit the like button, and don't forget to hit the bell button as well, just for notifications and so on, so that you know every time I go live. And of course, look, this episode is also available on replay action. But if you want to catch it live, if you want to talk as we are watching Formula One, as we're talking about Formula One, then yeah, hit that bell. Hit that bell. Now, obviously, I'm watching the qualifying on Sky Sports F1, and straight away, there's a couple of things. Obviously, Zach Brown's tattoo. I don't know if you lot have seen that, but Zach Brown's got a tattoo of Monza, when Danny Ricciardo, of course, took the checkered flag in the McLaren earlier this year, at the Italian Grand Prix. And it's just making me laugh because I did a video a year ago about Cyril Abiteboul and Danny Ricciardo's sort of tattoo spat. And Danny Ricciardo obviously got on the podium last season with the Renault, so he had to go and do a tattoo for that. And now he's now got Zach Brown doing tattoos as well. So it's hilarious. I tweeted out earlier, man, Danny Ricciardo's got these team principals on the ropes when it comes to these tattoos. So if you haven't seen it yet, Zach Brown has got a tattoo of Monza because of Danny Ricciardo's win at the Italian Grand Prix. Don't forget as well, people, hit the like button. Indeed, make sure you smash that bell as well. If you like content like this, subscribe to the channel, man, all day long. Don't forget, I do daily streams, whether they're going to be live watch alongs. This is my very first one. It's the inaugural live watch along. So do comment below if you want to jump in. Comment your comments, comment your thoughts. But if you also want to get involved in the interactive video, then listen, by all means, man. I don't discriminate, them ones. So let's see, man. Big up to Chowdhury. I said Danica Patrick is tiny, man. What the hell? Yo, when you're standing next to Jensen Button and like Paul di Resta and them man there, listen, it's unfair, isn't it? It's really unfair. Like she does look tiny amongst them two, but nonetheless, look, she's big in the game, and big up to everyone that's in for the W series. I'm being educated today because when I saw her, I was like, okay, I'm intrigued. Let's see what's what. And who knows, man? It might open a new avenue for me to watch different types of racing. So I'm all for it. I'm all for it. But yeah, hilarious, man. She is, she is absolutely looking tiny amongst them, man. There. Question for you guys today, wherever you are watching from. Who will take pole position this weekend? That is the question right now. Who, in your opinion, will take pole position? It's difficult to bet against Lewis Hamilton. It's extremely difficult, especially because this man, let's keep it 100%, he is the king of the Circuit of Americas. We've had what, 8 Grand Prix here? He's won 5. Um, so when you think about it like that, well, I think Mercedes have won 8, and he's won 5 of those 8. Something along those lines. But he obviously Bottas won it last time round, and when Hamilton took the title. But Sebastian Vettel is the only other person I can think of at the top of my head. And I think Kimi Räikkönen done it as well one year. But it's just like, this is Hamilton's place. This is his ball game. You know what I'm saying? Nobody else takes him out. But I want to get your opinion, man. I've got to get your opinions on who do you think is going to start on pole for tomorrow's race. Big up to Hugo. What are you saying, G? You're saying Max Verstappen? Listen, man, Max is on fire this year. I deeped it the other day, man. I thought about it the other day, and I said to myself, do you know what? Max has to win this title this year, simply because, of course, he's been phenomenal. He's been very, very good. He has been somebody who's been absolutely consistent. I can't knock Max Verstappen at all. But at the same time, Lewis Hamilton's stats, when you actually look at them this year, they're very poor by his standards, right? And so you sort of think, if there is going to be a time and a place to capitalize on something like this, surely it's got to be this season. Who knows? Next season might be even easier, or with all the new regs and stuff like that. Who knows what kind of situation we'll have in Formula One? But Max Verstappen, I think, the Red Bulls are looking good this weekend. All of a sudden, by the way, I didn't think they were going to do well at the Circuit of Americas, but they are looking good. So this will be a phenomenal battle. So we've got one Max Verstappen in there as well. It's the US, man. It's Lewis. It's Lewis. It's got to be. Big up to Curran. I hear you, fam. You know what? I hear you. To bet against Lewis Hamilton, especially as a Formula One driver, 7-time world champion. I need to jump the gun there. 7-time world champion. That's one thing. But then at the US Grand Prix, this is one of his bags. Do you know what I mean? This is one of the places where, now I know he hasn't won there for a bit now. We haven't had it obviously for 2 years, but at the same time, it's just he's got the most wins here. He's the master of this circuit. You know what I'm saying? So I can totally hear Curran saying that, you know what, this has got to be Lewis. Surely this is the US Grand Prix. I mean, what are we talking about here? Of course, it's going to have to be Lewis Hamilton, but we shall see. Keep your eyes on the balls, Mr. Hugo is saying, and that is a very, very good one, because the other question I had was, who shall we watch out for this weekend? And as my man said here, keep your eyes on the balls. Yes, absolutely. And the reason is, Sergio Perez going, P1 in practice 2. It's a bit like, okay, maybe not to read into it too much, but they've clearly gained something over the week. But to them being P1 again in practice 3, it's making me think, hang on a minute, Sergio Perez, it might be an important piece to this puzzle this weekend. So as the picture is being created, as the painting is beginning, Sergio Perez, I think, has got 1 or 2 paintbrushes to put to this piece, if you hear what I mean. So, this I will keep my eye. I will definitely keep my eyes on them. Lewis is a beast too. Listen, no one can argue that. Absolutely, Hugo. Nobody can argue that Lewis Hamilton is a beast. He certainly is. This circuit, he knows it very, very well. This title race is so hot. I mean, like you say, Clash of the Titans, you're absolutely right. This title race is hot. Okay. And I don't know if you've been watching the programs earlier or during the week. There was one, I think, just before qualifying. There was one about Hamilton versus Verstappen, and it kind of talks about the sort of the mindset and the sort of, not the body language, but the sort of racing stance, if you will, as to how they've both been. They've compared the two, and at the start of the season, you would have said, maybe Lewis was a bit more lenient, a bit more conservative, a bit more like, he'll bide his time. He mentions in one of the races, in fact, I think it's Baku, where he bins it, but he says that it's a marathon, not a sprint. And it's almost like, you know what, he sort of weighed his options. And then there was a turning point, whether it was, I think they mentioned it was the British Grand Prix. The sprint race was one thing, but then the race itself was when Lewis just didn't have it. And when Lewis was aggressive, Max Verstappen obviously spun out. Not to say it was Lewis's fault necessarily. I do think it was Lewis's fault in that race at Silverstone. However, what I'm not talking about that, but I'm just saying that as a driver, he was being more assertive. You know, sort of like, look, my title's on the line here. I need to come out here and win this title. The Clash of the Titans is a perfect title for this, because I can't believe it. We've got 6 races to go, okay, and we've still got a title race very, very, very thick in the balance, okay. So thank God nobody's running away with it, whether it be Lewis or Max or whoever. Thank God that there is a title race. Thank God there's competition. If people are new to F1, or if people have criticized F1 for it being just sort of one person wins, one team keeps winning, fair play to them. This is the year you need to jump in and have a look. Have a look at this title race that we've got on our hands. It's not quite like the Premier League football. I won't go that far. However, it's still very, very poised. Curran says, I'd love Lando to pull one out of the bag, or George Russell, but it's peak, fam. If Lando Norris pulls something out of the bag, I tell you what, it's a party in here. Mercedes, the McLaren, I do think they've got something in their sleeve. I do think so. And I think what would be interesting is if to see one of the McLarens actually hit like the podium this weekend. I have a feeling they could. They will have something to say as well. The car's quick. The car is good. Lando Norris is driving out of his skin. This is the best Lando Norris we've seen so far since he's been here. We've seen the man just grow. Like, he's absolutely elevating since he's joined McLaren. And when you look at a person like having, you had Fernando Alonso 1 year as your teammate, then you had Carlos Sainz, who's a very good driver as well, very underrated driver as well, and then you got Daniel Ricciardo. You look at the kind of people he's around. You look at even the team. The team of McLaren is a completely different team right now. It feels fresh. It feels new. I love Zach Brown's enthusiasm. I love, if he was my boss, I'll be so excited because it's like he's excited. You know what I mean? But yeah, Lando Norris could do. George Russell is interesting because I think he's starting at the back of the grid, isn't he? Or near the back, because he's changing his engine for this weekend. So he might go full pelt tonight, just to make sure, just to put, at the end of the day, it doesn't really mean much because he's going to start at the back, right? It doesn't mean anything at all, in fairness. But he's starting at the back row of the grid with Fernando Alonso, who's also replacing his engine as well. But yeah, it would be great to see Lando Norris and George Russell, or George Russell. It is peak, but this is Formula One, man. This year has been kind of unpredictable. Do you know what I mean? Like, it's been, you can't quite write the script just yet. I mean, I'm very nervous for the last 6 races, because what I want to happen is that we go into the Abu Dhabi Grand Prix and it's still in the balance. However, my fear is that something bad is going to happen between now and the next couple of races, and for all we know, this title could go in the bin very, very quickly. Curran goes on to say, this feels like the most heated driver rivalry for the World Championship since Hamilton and Rosberg. It just feels personal. I totally understand what you're saying there. Did you see in practice? I don't know if it was 1 or 2. They're almost, I think it's in practice too. Hamilton and Verstappen are racing each other in practice. In practice, what you guys doing? And afterwards, Verstappen lets Hamilton through, and then Verstappen sort of calls him an idiot, calls him a stupid idiot. And I thought, this is interesting. And here's another thing to watch out for, Curran, especially coming to this end of the season right now. We are going to see people under pressure. Pressure bursts pipes. We're going to see some situations going on. I mean, when you look at what happened in Monza, when you look at what happened at Silverstone, it is definitely fiery. It is definitely fiery this year. And it's almost like the kettle hasn't finished boiling just yet, but it's bubbling for sure. And I think you're spot on. I think probably, 2016 is probably the last time we had that, where it was personal, proper personal. But yeah, it'll be interesting, man. This is going to be saucy. Who do you think is going to come out on top? I'll ask you that question. Who's coming out on top in terms of between Hamilton and Verstappen in this rivalry? Who is going to come out number one at the end of the season. It will be very, very, very interesting to see. Look, guys, if you want to jump in the stream, I have no problem with that whatsoever. Come through if you want to. There's the link. So jump in. We can have a conversation, and yeah, it'll be good to have some people on. Karen carries on. If it comes down to the last race, we remember that Hamilton did a Massa, though. Yeah, oh, mate. You had to take it back to 2008, didn't you? You just had to take it back there. Listen, that was a fantastic day. As a McLaren fan, see, I'm a team guy more than I am a driver guy. But yeah, it's gonna be one of those ones where that was bad, because even I don't like Ferrari too tough. Well, back in the day, I really hated Ferrari. I don't hate them as much now. Whether that's just because they're just irrelevant when it comes to the title. But when Massa and his family are celebrating and then they suddenly realize they've actually lost the title, I'm like, yo, man, this is quite dark, man. This is quite dark. You know, I feel so sorry for him. But listen, man, Hamilton went there and won it. Should have won it in 2007, or Alonso. One of you guys should have won it in 2007. But yeah, Karen goes on to say, I trust Lewis. Yeah, it's hard to, like I said, it's hard. I am keeping an eye on Red Bull though, because Red Bull have all of a sudden picked up the pace. So yeah, no worries, Karen. I'll let you get set up and ready. Q1, ladies and gentlemen. I want to make sure that the time has started over there. I've currently got it on the old Sky Go. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, you have to get that in there. But yeah, man, it'll be interesting to. It's interesting to see. Currently now we see out on track. We've got Charles Leclerc out there on track at the moment. But yeah, this is going to be a very interesting battle. It's going to be a very, very close one. I absolutely wonder who on earth is going to take it this weekend. It should be very, very interesting. One moment. Who do you think is going to disappoint? Or let me not even use that now. I'll leave that for now. But yeah, it's more so about Q1 right now. It's currently what we are in. So 16 minutes 30 on the clock, and we can see now the Red Bull of Max Verstappen coming out. Interestingly, they were showing that he was doing a few tweaks on his rear wing, and wondering what the issue was there. I'm not sure if it was Max Verstappen's garage or whether it was Sergio Perez. I'm sure you guys in the comments will let me know what's going on. Be sure to hit the like button, as well as subscribe to the channel if you want to have more watch alongs, if you want to jump in and join in the interactive watch alongs, if you want to see more daily news. I'm going to be doing daily content on Formula One, constantly just giving you more information about what's happening, what's going on. There's not a lot of it around, so it'll be good to sort of fill that void, fill that space. But yes, Q1 has started, just over 15 minutes left on the timer. I'm gonna make sure I've got that nice and live. We see Charles Leclerc on track right now. Interesting season for Charles Leclerc, to be fair. Carlos Sainz is definitely met his match with Carlos Sainz. He's a good teammate. Ferrari have got a good pair of drivers there, and who knows, the new regulations next year, who knows what Ferrari will have to offer. I think they've definitely been on the up since Arriva-Bene has left, not putting it down to him. As we see the two Mercedes now, both of them coming out, both Valtteri Bottas and Lewis Hamilton coming out early here in Q1 to set some times. But yeah, Ferrari, I think they're looking impressive this season. They've done well, actually. I've not expected them to be as close to the McLaren as I thought they would be. I did think the McLarens would be. I didn't think, to be fair, I didn't think McLaren would be ahead of the midfield like that. I thought the midfield would be very sandwiched with the Alpine, with Aston Martin. I mean, Aston Martin, what on earth is going on this season? I still cannot believe this is the pink Mercedes of last year, you know, Racing Point, who people love and have lauded, and rightly so. You know, they've deserved their plaudits for sure. But yeah, it's just an odd one to not see Aston Martin doing well. It's bizarre. It's a very bizarre one. But yeah, currently in Q1, No times have been set just yet. Although purple sector, well, hang on a minute, Mazepin's gone up to the top. Of course, he's probably the only one that's completed a time. But I'm seeing Mazepin on my screen. Things I do not see often. On a 1:37.8, and then Schumacher's done a 1:37.2. So he's quicker than Mazepin, but I think Charles Leclerc's going to burn this one. He's got the fastest middle sector of the weekend thus far. And I'd like to big up Karen, who's going to join us on the live stream. What's happening, gang?
What is happening, bro?
How
It's a
you
bit
doing, man? Good?
weak this session. I think it's not gonna. I feel like we're just gonna have people just go for it this session. I don't really feel like it's gonna be because as you said, like 2 cars are not already out. They're just gonna
Yeah,
go hell for leather, and I think there's gonna be a lot of teams just. It doesn't. I think it's going to be a bit more of an all-out session that we've seen a couple of these qualifyings. It's not going to be, you know what I mean? It's going to be a bit more competitive than it usually is, because
yeah,
some just gets to the point where, like, you look at some of the teams out there. You've got the even McLaren. You can see how much they've improved this season. It feels like there's a bit more parity on the grid than there has been in a couple of years. Like it's not. It doesn't feel like you remember what it was like in like 18, 17 when it was just like you had the two big boys and you had Renault and Haas kind of fighting out, and then it was just kind of everyone else.
yeah.
And now it's just it's a bit more open now. It doesn't feel like this as sort of like top midfield and then everyone else. It feels like there's a bit more. The midfield is kind of trying to push through a bit more. I don't know. We'll see how what this first session says though, because it's interesting to see.
No,
Because
it will be very interesting to see. Big up to David as well. David, what's happening, man? Interesting to see what happens. Again, he's coinciding with you there. Do you think they might be more cautious having had their rear wings being glued 15 minutes before the session? It's a very good point.
it is.
It's a very good point. It was worrying, wasn't it, to see the mechanics out there frantically at the back of at the rear of the Red Bull. It's a good question. What do you think there? What are your thoughts? Do you reckon they might be a bit more cautious?
Yeah, there probably will be. It's just you know what when you see it's not a mechanical thing. Literally, it's just being glued together. You can't really be going full out pelt and then have your rear wing just fly off halfway
No,
through the session.
it's so
I
true.
don't know, but it looked like. Did you see it? They were literally you could see like the glue, and it was.
Yeah, no. The image I had was just Corinne on Sky Sports. Corinne is there talking, and then there's a bunch of them just at the back, and I'm
yeah,
like, something's going on. But because he was saying this is a story developing, I thought, this is not what we want to see. I want to see the Red Bulls giving some competition. I mean, they've just gone faster, so probably not. Yeah, exactly. So thus far at the moment in
this is the
Q1.
thing. Yeah.
11 minutes to go in Q1. We've got Verstappen on a 1:34.5. We've got Perez 5/10 off his pace. Bottas done a 1:3. I just missed it now, but he's 1/10. He's 1/10 behind Perez, and Hamilton sealing the top four. So obviously this is the pack. This is the top four
Yeah,
we're going to
this is the
expect to
pack.
see,
Yeah, exactly.
right?
No, but it was always going to be the case because,
Mm,
like, as you were saying, like with Perez this season, this in practice, he did look very quick. He looked like
yeah.
he'd be on point for this. So,
Were
I
you
was
surprised
wondering,
by that?
yeah, a little bit. I mean,
Mm,
it was a point where you thought, how much of this is Max and how much of this is the car? Because
mm,
Sergio was a bit has been a sort of like a bit up and down. I don't really think he's performed as well as people thought he would.
yeah,
But if you look at Sergio and you think, hang on a second, maybe they are trying to bring this car along, the upgrades they've done. I think when was the last time they upgraded? Was it Spain?
I want to say it's Spain.
Yeah,
I,
right. I
it
think
was
it's
ages
Spain.
ago.
It was ages ago, right? And
Ages ago.
you're just thinking, if it's so far back,
Mm,
how's the performance only started to eke out now? Maybe is there something about? I mean, I don't think there's something special about this US track that you can say, okay, this is why. It's not like they're performing incredibly well down straights or they're better in chicanes or something like this. It just feels
yeah,
like the car's could turn the corner now.
yeah,
And because with Sergio right now, it wasn't just that it was like he was just putting out good laps. He actually the laps looked clean.
yeah,
Like they actually
yeah.
it looked good. I mean, I don't know what you thought about what Sergio was doing, but from bits because I only caught the highlights of it, because
Okay.
so I don't know if you saw the entire thing, if he how he looked.
Yeah, like I saw a bit like practice 3. I watched that live.
Mm,
But the 1 and 2 were highlights. And it just didn't see, nothing, special sort of stood out to me or anything like that. Like you say, it was clean. Um, but the balance is right, I think, is more so the
mm.
case. And it's always been, I think, the issue for Perez. We know he's a good driver. We know he's quick. By the way, Danny Ricciardo's P1, in case you guys are just joining in now, so far, he's currently top of the charts. Lando Norris in third. So the McLarens, like we were saying before, they're going to have something to say here. They're definitely going to have something to say in this session for sure. I know it's only Q1, but this is telling me something. 134.4 for Danny Ricciardo. Interesting.
Do
But
you
yeah,
think there'll
Perez.
be do you think there'll be an interesting? Do you think there'll be a surprise drop into P3 from the mid? What do you think? What are your thoughts on that?
So someone in the midfield, what, dropping out of Q1, or you mean getting into Q3, or
No, I mean going out in the first, going out in Q3.
going out? Well, Q1, right?
Yeah.
Yes, yeah, okay. Um, in the midfield, do I see? Yeah, the Aston Martins do not fill me with any confidence whatsoever. I don't know what's happened to
Mm.
them. Sebastian Vettel, it worries me, man. He
Yeah,
worries me.
literally my thoughts. I thought maybe Vettel, because like I don't know if you're watching it. So I just saw a replay of Vettel just going through, and he just looks like he's looking like he's hitting chicanes. He doesn't look like he's sort of gliding past. He looks like he's hitting them. He
Yeah,
doesn't look clean. It looks very sort of like messy through.
yeah.
It looks dirty. It doesn't look clean to me.
It doesn't look clean, but I also wonder as well, is the car's not right, clearly.
Mm,
I mean, there is something wrong with that car, and I still can't
yeah.
get my mind around the fact that this was Racing Point. Like, you couldn't fool, you could have fooled me that this was Racing Point of last
Yeah.
year.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's just a bit. I, you see with Alonso at Alpine, you can
Yeah.
tell the car's not necessarily in top condition. However, there's a learning process going in there.
Hmm. Hmm.
Whereas with the Aston Martin, it's almost like one step forward, maybe two steps back. Then it's a bit like, well,
Mm.
sideways. We don't know what's actually kind of going on. So that's my concern with Aston Martin. Um, David says in McLaren 1 and 3 are breaking my Ferrari car. Fair play to them. Expecting a good battle between them. Absolutely. Of course,
Uh,
David is a massive Ferrari man. I've
mm.
only ever seen him in red. So fair play to David, man. Listen, the Ferrari and McLaren battle, though, how good is it to see? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Look at both these teams. Like, we've gone through some hard times for sure. You know, what are
I
your
mean,
thoughts on them?
my first F1 experience, as I said before, was Massa and Hamilton. That was my first sort of
Right.
foray into F1. I mean, I grew up through the Schumacher era, but I never really like got into it. But it was
Mm,
just Lewis. I think Lewis, when he burst onto the scene in '07, it was just different. He was like, okay, this is someone you can actually relate to, and sort of just drew you in. It kind of feels like, I don't know if you followed, like it feels like when Murray came into tennis. It's just like you
ah,
have like you're like your guy, and you just sort of you
yeah.
just follow it in, and then you realize there's like a whole world of people.
Yes. Yes.
So
I
yeah,
totally understand what you're
so,
saying.
but like for me, McLaren Ferrari is it goes back to Prost and Senna. It's just it's just old as time. It's
Mm,
just eternal. I don't think either will ever like each other. It's just sort of like
yeah.
you have to respect it. I mean, what are your thoughts on Leclerc this year? Because I think everyone is expecting him to make a jump this year. I think, and I don't really feel like he has. I feel like he's gone back a bit.
I tell you what, as a McLaren fan, I love Leclerc.
Yeah,
I love Leclerc.
yeah,
Honestly,
yeah.
he is. He trust me. Just keep your eyes on that one because
Mm,
yes, he's not been as great as what we've become accustomed to. Like when it is
yeah.
first year at Ferrari, we're like, what the hell? We
Mm,
have got something going on here. Last year, of course, was a horrific year for Ferrari as a whole. But you know, look at the pair of them, both him and Sainz. I'm telling you,
yeah.
Ferrari are definitely again a team that's actually working a lot. They're much further down the line, if you will, than say the Alpine, or they're trying to tie up with McLaren, and they could end up finishing above McLaren this year, and that would be massive. That
Massive,
would be
yeah.
huge for them this season. I think the Leclerc thing, he set his own standards, didn't he? And so when he doesn't do the same as what we saw in 2019, we're a bit like, maybe it was all hype. It's definitely not hype. He's a bloody good driver,
He's
and
a
he should have
very
had
bad,
a few more podiums as well this year. He was unlucky to be finishing fourth. I'm trying to remember where it was. Was it? It was a recent track. I think it's the one where Danny Ricciardo won at
yeah,
Monza. There was somewhere he
yeah,
was
yeah.
meant to be on the podium comfortably, but couldn't
Wasn't it?
couldn't make it.
Didn't he get I think someone got a penalty or something. I can't remember what it was. Um.
Yeah, there was even one time when he
Uh.
was leading. He was leading, and
Yeah.
then
Yeah.
Hamilton
Yeah.
took him at the end as well.
Yeah.
So
It's
Leclerc's been unlucky for sure.
but like you know what bothered me about Leclerc is, I mean, everyone remembered when he signed for Ferrari, and everyone was like, "Oh, this was just a PR move. It was for Jules and all this stuff, and
Mm,
he's too young, and it's just."
mm.
And he's proved year after year he's got better and better. And I just don't
Oh,
think
yeah.
like he is a driver that I think like what worries me with a lot of these drivers have so much promise. I remember seeing this with Nico Hulkenberg back in the day when you just thought there's so much promise there, but they're ever going to really get it together. But I don't really have
Mm,
that with Leclerc because he's at a team that has like the finances and the ability to give him a car that he can really use. It's not like Hulkenberg when he was just struggling in the midfield for time and time.
yeah.
I have a lot of time for Nico Hulkenberg. He gets a lot of shit
Mm.
because like
Yeah, I got time.
he doesn't deserve it, man. Like he was really he just never really got a car behind him. For me, I just think because he had the talent. Like you
Yeah,
remember it, like we all remember his F2 days.
exactly.
He was up there.
He's
So
definitely somebody who he's very unlucky, very,
mm,
very unlucky, to not be at least given a sniff at a very good team at
mm,
the least. I think, yeah, what, but where would he have gone at the
yeah,
time?
this is the thing.
That's the
This is the
problem,
thing.
isn't it? There have been drivers that you think. I mean, you could probably argue like, how does Kvyat make it to Red Bull, and Hulkenberg can't find a team? How does Bottas make it in the Mercedes? Although he had a good Williams stint, don't get me wrong,
Mm,
but how did he make it in there? So there are, even just going with the boldness of going with Charles Leclerc, that was a very bold move to make, even
mm,
though he was a very good driver in the Sauber. So yeah, Hulkenberg, man, gutting,
yeah,
gutting. That's a gutted career for sure,
yeah, for
for
sure,
sure.
man. Like
They,
there's a lot of careers that you just think like that
yeah,
you really like the driver, but it's never gonna work. Like
yeah,
I feel like that's gonna happen with even though he's got his father behind him, but with Stroll as well. Like
mm.
I feel like he's someone that has a lot of potential, but it's just never really gonna get it together.
He Stroll's quick. Stroll is
He's
definitely
quick,
quick,
yeah.
but also he's young and he's been in the sport for ages, so we
Mm.
forget he's actually still
Yeah,
young.
he's
Like
still very young,
I
yeah.
think I get very frustrated with Stroll because I see the potential there. I see it there. He could be a
Mm.
very quick driver for sure. Sorry, just 1 minute left on Q1. Verstappen in the lead, and then Perez is second. Ricardo and Norris top four. Science in fifth place. Bottas and Hamilton top seven. So that's interesting.
Yeah,
Those that are going out though, Fernando Alonso is only doing his outlap right now, which
along
is
with Ocon.
concerning, which is very concerning because he's along with Ocon, who's also they're in their 15th and 16th respectively. Latifi, this is interesting. Kimi Raikkonen as well. Oh, yellow flag. I don't know if you've seen that.
Yeah, it's just come up.
Sorry,
Jeez. No, it's fine. Don't worry.
I know
It
we've
happens.
gone back. It's a green flag now. Um,
Oh
but
God,
yeah,
look.
this this could be tight.
I fear for Stroll here, and I fear for Vettel. I think Alonso will make it. I don't think he'll go.
Well,
I don't
remember
think he'll drop.
Alonso had that issue in FP1, didn't he, where the car just
Yeah,
packed up, and I think he's put a
yeah,
new
it's
engine in
true.
there now. And I think he's put a new engine in there, so
You're
it's
right. Yeah, because it
interesting.
doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. Yeah, of course.
It's yeah, for him it don't matter. Like
Yeah,
him and Russell at the back of the grid,
yeah, for
so
sure.
they're not really fast.
They're not really that.
Bottas has completed 1:34.5. That's interesting. I wonder what the fast time will be. I mean, Verstappen set at 1:34.3. So you're looking at probably the low 1:30s, I guess.
If someone hits a 132 in quali, I think that'll do it.
Oh, Raikkonen is out.
Yeah, Raikkonen's out. Yeah.
Charles
Yeah,
Leclerc
but
tops Q1.
I would expect a late 132, early 133 for pole on this. I don't really see it going any further than that. I don't think they're going full out either. I think maybe a second off at max.
Yeah.
What do you think?
Sorry, say that again.
I was saying, like, in terms of time for pole, I don't think it's going to be more than maybe a second at max off this. Like, I don't.
Yeah, it's gonna be friggin' tight. That's
It's
for
not
damn
going to be.
sure.
It's not going to be like. I think. I think early 133 may seal pole here,
Yeah.
which is something like that. I don't see there's much left in this track. I don't think there's like do you remember what was the time for practice for Q3 for P3?
No idea. I can't remember the
Yeah,
time
I can't remember off
for,
the time,
for
but I
that.
think it's like it's something. It wasn't far off this. I don't think this is as fast as it can get, but I think this
Yeah.
is. I mean, Leclerc set
Oh
a
snap! Wait,
134.1.
Stroll's in the bottom five. Oh
Stroll
my
didn't.
days!
Yeah, Stroll did not survive. I told
You
you, Stroll
you
might be
you
in
you
trouble.
you were worried of Stroll, weren't you?
Yeah, I was worried about
You
Stroll.
were
Yeah.
you were worried about Stroll. Holy smokes!
Yeah.
Stroll, Latifi, Raikkonen, Mazepin, and Schumacher were all out. Wow, that is mad. That is mad.
That is mad. Yeah.
Wow. Okay. So who makes it through? So Gio made it through. Russell's made it through, and say Yuki Tsunoda, who I would have expected in that mix. Both Alpines made it through.
Yeah. Which is surprising
Mm.
because you'd think Alpine would just. I mean, I get that they're going all out because they don't really care, but it's still
Well, you thought they
surprising.
would. You thought they would save it. You thought they would have just saved the tires, save whatever they've got for the race.
Yeah, you'd think, right? I mean, that would be my thinking. I think there's. I mean, what are you going to get from wearing out? What if something happens? You lose a front wing or an engine failure. Something happens on the track. What are you? You're not doing this for anything. You're just doing this for yourself. I don't
Yeah,
really
that's the
see.
point. I wonder if Q2 will just see him bin it afterwards and just say, "Yeah, we're good to go now." We're good to go. Let me get to
Mm,
David's comment. He left a few comments there when we were talking about Ferrari. He says that's the low rake thing massively compromising Aston Martin. Um, with next year, how much are willing to throw money at this
this is the
season?
thing.
I think they might be gritting their teeth at this point. Yeah, that's the difficult thing, isn't it? It's it's a bit of a weird one. It's a bit of a weird. That's the thing with these new regulations. People then sort of bin it halfway in the season and then say, "Yeah, we're going to focus on that." But Haas did that last year. Last year they talked about 2022. I was thinking, "Come on, Haas, come on, what's going on here?" Um, but yeah, that's a fair point about Aston Martin. Maybe they have to just do a reset. And then on Charles Leclerc, he says would be a different conversation if he had not been taken out in Hungary or had been able to take the start in Monaco. Of course, how can I forget Monaco, where
Mm,
he topped the charts, didn't he, in qualifying?
yeah,
Was it a Ferrari 1-2? Have I got that right? Or am I completely missing the boat there? But I think I think they had a Ferrari 1-2. So
yeah, no,
it's
yeah,
a bit of a
it
weird
was,
one.
yeah, no, you're right. Him and Science came 1-2, didn't they?
I think so. I think so. I think so. It's a weird one though. It's a very very strange one. But yes, of course, if he had started, because Monaco is impossible to overtake. So you
Yeah,
imagine if he starts that race 1-2, then
but it is Monaco. Anything can happen in
the
Monaco.
thing
Literally anything can happen. Like,
is true.
like you, I think a favorite from one from mine is when Verstappen hit Ricardo. Do you remember?
Yeah. Yes.
Going into the back, and they both flew out, and they did it on the Netflix thing.
Yes.
That was definitely a favorite. Well, it was one of my favorite Monaco moments for sure. That
That
track
was
is just that was
it's
mental.
it is mental. I remember Sergio Perez in the McLaren. I
Yeah.
think he hit who did he hit?
Uh,
I remember like it was just like because they were saying why is he pushing so hard? Why is he pushing so hard? And it's like, dude, man, if you don't push, man, that's it. If you don't, what did Ayrton Senna say? If you see a gap and you don't overtake it, you're
you're
no
not
longer a
racing
driver.
anymore. You're not
You know
a
what I'm saying?
driver. Yeah, I remember
So
that. Yeah.
that's the thing. Monaco, as tight as it is, it's like it can still offer up something, can't it? Surely, surely. So I've not cancelled out Monaco just yet, not yet. Anyway,
Like, I mean, the thing is, what worries me about today is if you if you look at the midfield and if you look at the distance between, like, I mean, which car do you think is better, the Mercedes or the Red Bull? For me, it's the I think that the Red Bull, like, as a car, I would rather sit in. What would you say? It's hard, isn't it?
it's a bloody difficult one. At the start of the season, I would have definitely said hands down the Red Bull,
Yeah,
definitely, because Max was slapping up
balling.
Lewis, and I
Yeah.
was like, yo, this is interesting. Um, but then what recently Mercedes
Mm.
had picked it up, and I
But
thought, where have they?
that's always that they're inevitable like that. They always do that. They always start slow and they always pick it up. It's just it's like
Yeah,
Thanos. They're ridiculous.
it is ridiculous how they pick it up. But then maybe that means that they always start. Maybe the car's never always right in the beginning, which is also a problem, isn't it?
Yeah,
Um, this year, I have to say it would be the Red Bull.
yeah,
I'd
me
rather
too.
I'd rather drive the Red Bull.
What I'm trying to say is the distance between the Mercedes and everyone else is
Yeah,
still, it's still levels.
yeah,
So what worries me is even though the McLaren are getting better, I
yeah,
just don't really see like anyone breaking that top four in terms of like pole wise for today,
yeah.
because it's very difficult to set a time. My like heart says Hamilton pole, head says Perez pole. I just see how he,
Interesting.
because I just see how he's performing in qualifying. I think that he might actually pull one out. We'll see.
Yeah, Perez is the for me is the dark horse, isn't he? In my
Yeah,
head, he's the dark horse to watch out for. But I've also got a suspicion about McLaren. I do have that. Whether that's just my heart, whether that's my
yeah.
bias that's kicking in. Um,
Nah, I get it, man.
I do think. I mean, Ricardo topping the chart at one point in this Q1 was interesting because
Yeah,
he's never been like
no,
this all
he's never,
season.
no, for sure.
So to see that, I'm thinking, hang on a minute, what have they tweaked in this car? What have they done? Um, I don't know if you've seen some of like the onboard stuff where how bumpy this track actually looks. They were complaining about it. I remember MotoGP. I don't really watch
Mm,
MotoGP, but I came across the riders rather, complaining about how bumpy that circuit was. And Gasly, I think had an interview at some point, and we were sort of mentioning he was a bit concerned about it. And then those that work at the circuit were going to look at
mm,
resurfacing that. Q2 has started.
yeah.
If you are joining us right now, don't forget to smash the like button as well as hit the subscribe button and the bell in case you want to get any notifications on when I go live. Hello. So what got you into Formula One? Just out of curiosity,
Say again?
what got you into Formula One? What made
Well,
you
for
watching
me,
it? Yeah,
it was Hamilton.
yeah,
It was. I remember the day I actually thought, it was the Top Gear when he went on Top Gear that
oh yeah,
first year.
yeah, yeah.
I remember thinking, because I used to watch Top Gear all the time, like back
Same.
in the day. So
Yeah,
I
same.
thought, because I remember catching like a race or two with Schumacher, and I always found it incredibly boring. I
Okay.
found like 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 I remember the Cubitzer days and those days, and I never really I never really found it interesting. And then I thought, what, I'll give it a shot. And then the whole Alonso and Hamilton rivalry got me into it.
Mm,
That was mental. And then obviously '08 was, I think we can all agree, a beautiful year. It was one of the best, like, in terms of races, like for the actual world championship races. It was one of the best ones. I
without a
don't really
shadow of a doubt.
like it's always it's 08 and 16, I think, for me, are my two favorite, like, in, like, while I've been a fan,
Mm,
like, sort of like world championship sort of like rivalries.
yeah.
Because I tell you one thing, I hated Rosberg with a passion. I couldn't stand that kid. I couldn't stand that kid. Every time
Really?
that guy,
Why? What
because
was it about him?
you know what it was? It was the fact that he consistently was not being Lewis and was complaining about not being Lewis when he could have
Mm,
just gone out and, instead of complaining, just gone out and beat Lewis.
Rather than click. Nah, you know what, Rosberg, man, the guy moaned, man. That guy moaned. You know?
like going back, like you respect the kid because you will respect him because he's a world champion. He beat one of, if not the greatest modern day world champion. So fair play to
Yeah,
him, and he's a
yeah,
great world champion for that. But like, just shut up, man. Just leave me alone. Like I don't need you in this with this energy right now. It's just not. It wasn't the right one for me,
yeah.
man.
It's
Like
it's it's one.
does he not remind you of Max a bit?
Hmm. In similar, there are similarities for sure. I think the thing with Rosberg though, he was always inferior to Lewis.
Yeah.
The difference with Max, I think Max actually thinks he can beat him.
Mm.
Whereas with Rosberg, I mean, they go back from go-karting days, don't they? And
Yeah.
they were
Yeah.
fighting then, and so to now come to however many years, 10, 20 years later, and they're still battling. Um, yeah, I think it was a case of it took so much out of Rosberg to beat Hamilton. I mean, to the extent he just said, "Bun this, I'm not doing it anymore, and I'm stepping aside." Right? With Verstappen, however, he's like, what's everyone so excited about Lewis for? I'm the best. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah.
There's a different. It seemed like Rosberg wanted, things weren't fair, whereas Verstappen didn't care, doesn't really cater to that. The likes of Massa and Alonso, they don't cater to that sort of stuff. They're just like,
No,
no,
they
I'm the
don't.
best. I'm gonna go out there and prove it. So 10 minutes into Q1, you got Verstappen up front there with 133.4. Hamilton 3 tenths behind. Leclerc 4 tenths behind Hamilton. Oh, Norris has now jumped into third. Leclerc fourth. Bottas fifth. Ricardo sixth. Perez seventh. Interesting. Interesting. Let's see how this gets down, man. Because it is this what if you're Max Verstappen, which circuits do you look at the remaining circuits? Do you say you have to take advantage of it? Is this one of them?
Yes.
Yeah.
He has to start because like the momentum's against him, and a lot of F1's about momentum.
Mm.
Because if you can start piling weekend, that's what Lewis is so good at. He's good at making sure that once he gets there, he will stamp on your neck. Once he gets there, he
Ah,
will pile up wins again on you and on you. And if you don't have that momentum in F1, it's very
yeah,
difficult to claw it back.
sure. Big up to David in the building. What's happening, David? How are you?
Hey, how's it going? Can you hear me all right?
Yeah, yeah, you're good.
Yeah.
You are good to go, my friend. You're good to go.
Cool.
Um, yeah, same question to
Trying
you.
rig stuff together.
Same question to you. The circuits that are remaining, does Max have to take advantage of this one in particular? Are there other circuits you're looking at that you think if he's going to win it, this is the place to go and do it?
Yeah, traditionally they've been quite strong in Mexico as well with comparison to Mercedes.
Yeah.
But you've generally got the feeling that Mercedes have been getting stronger and stronger as that's gone on in recent races. Whether that's just a setup thing or what, I don't know. But some of it's the political stuff as well, because every time Red Bull have stuck something on a car, which is clever, it's ended up getting taken off. So
Yeah.
yeah, and again, it comes back to next year as well. How much can they afford to throw at this year to take their eyes off next year? And
It's Formula One is such
yeah.
an expensive sport. It's so unsustainable, though.
Yeah.
If you're having to debate on how much do we put in this year and save for the following year, it's almost like it's a shame because then they're sort of handicapped, aren't they? And we want to see everybody go full pelt with what they can, and then we can compare teams. I think it's still not necessarily going to be fair because more teams will spend more money than others, but at least we can say everyone has the same effort put in. Whereas,
Yeah.
as you're saying, people will have stuff in reserve to save for something else.
And so what we're hoping to see with these restrictions and the budget cap which has come in is that it's basically can be a case of the best team can develop it rather than it just turning into a complete arms race like it has
Yeah.
been for several years.
Yeah,
You know, who spends the money wins isn't how a sport should be.
I agree. I totally agree.
As a Ferrari fan, I know it's a fine irony, but
No, but yeah, it's true. I mean, in some ways, it's good to see that Ferrari, anyone, whether it's Ferrari or whoever, if they spend so much amount of money, at least we're not seeing them just run away because then it would just be a losing a fight. You're just losing your uphill battle, if you will. So it's one of the things that I love football, but it's one of the things that really gripes me so much is that the team that wins the league is the one that spends the most. Usually.
Yeah.
So yeah, but yeah, that's what I do like about Formula One. The thing with Formula One is once one team sort of gets these regulations correct, no other constructor seems to get anywhere close.
It's very hard to knock them off that perch.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean,
we
talk about it always having been that way, but there's never been periods of dominance for this long.
No.
It's like Lotus would have periods where they were dominant for ages, but it was like a couple of seasons here, a couple of seasons there. It's never a run of like 6-7 years.
That's true.
I mean, there's two words I can say to you, Michael Schumacher. I mean,
but even then, it wasn't as long, was it? To David's point.
So this is the thing again.
Yeah.
I mean, I made a comment once about it was like Mercedes and Ferrari were two teams basically built using experience of Ross Brawn, but Ferrari forgot the lessons.
Very true.
Formula One really is. In our time, the last however many 20 years or so, it's been the Ross Brawn era, hasn't it?
It really has. It really has. It's mental.
His DNA, whether it's in the Ferrari, whether it's in the Mercedes, even a Brawn GP 1 year, you sort of think to yourself, hang on a minute, we've all been like sort of sidetracked here. We should be putting out the real criminal out of all of this.
Ross Brawn versus Adrian Newey has been like the battle for like the last two generations, I think.
Yes.
I want to see this Perez outlet because he's just gone out now. So let's see how he goes. Because as we were saying before you came on, David, it was he's looked very good this weekend. So let's see how he does. Because
what timers are you guys on? I'm 4 minute 18, 17, 16.
I'm on 20. I'm on 20, 22, 21. Oh Lord.
The session to go, I mean, sorry.
Oh, you're very much ahead. I'm on 4:10 now. Jesus Christ! Like a 4 minute ahead of me.
I take it, Dave, you're watching straight off the TV then, yeah?
I am, yeah.
Yeah. So that will obviously be.
It's just over there, just out of sight.
I'm gonna refresh because this is poor. A minute. That's not very good.
I've got my phone underneath you guys watching it on Sky Go, so of course it will be delayed anyway.
Yeah, I've got Sky Go as well because
I'll delay telling you what happens. How's that?
I genuinely don't mind.
Me neither.
Whatever you're seeing, react to it live.
If Leclerc pulls out a pole, don't worry about it.
Yeah, jump at the screen, man. Because I'll be rooting with you. To be fair, because it'll be good to see something, to hear and see something different. But 3 minutes or so to go. Verstappen, Hamilton, Norris, Leclerc, Bottas. I mean, and Perez. What is happening with Perez at the minute? Is he just taking time to come out? Is there been an issue that we've missed?
Well, I think he's suffering the same problem as everyone else has got going into that Red Bull team. There was always a query, was it the younger drivers not having the experience going into that environment, or how would a more experienced driver work going into that environment? And the lesson is, it's not just that the younger drivers weren't able to cope in that environment. It's a tough building to walk into.
Sure.
It's Max's house. And while it affects, obviously the car is going to be built the way it's built, but you can dial in certain things a driver might like more. If a stable rear end is what a certain driver likes, and the driver that you've been working with for the last 3 years likes a really sharp, pointy front end, your other guy is going to have difficulty with that car. It just is. It doesn't matter how much sort of understeer or whatever he tries to dial into it. If it's not there because, your entire aero balance is designed towards a certain way, you're going to struggle. And Perez, obviously, new team coming in there. What we thought we'd get from him would probably be at least a bit of reliability in terms of performance. But it's like some weeks he's been really good and other weeks has been Imola. So
Yeah, no. Do you think he will grow in the team? Do you think he'll adapt to, say, a Verstappen type of car?
I don't know. I mean, Perez has never been a qualifier. He's always been one who's built up a pace over the weekend and then come good in the races. So we perhaps shouldn't be expecting him to be near Max in terms of quali pace. But the problem is that's where they want him. They want him on the front row, being able to cause trouble in terms of the Mercedes strategy. And whereas Bottas is more often than not within Max's pit window to still cause issues, Perez too frequently is only getting there if they play games on his strategy to try and get him into it, because he's quite frequently getting stuck with the McLarens and the Ferraris of the world rather than being able to be in the mix on sheer pace. Which,
because I wonder if there's similarities between, Perez's sort of fresh start with Red Bull, Danny Ricciardo's start with McLaren, but then you've got a Carlos Sainz of Ferrari who seems to not be out of place as such.
Yeah,
I'm wondering whether, because Danny Ricciardo's one's it's really weird to me. The Perez one, you could probably say, do you know what, that Red Bull car looks difficult, and everyone has said it. But the McLaren one, I was a bit surprised that, especially a man of his experience.
Well, they do tend to reckon the McLaren is quite a hard car to drive, because they've only got so many tokens and stuff they can use this year, haven't they? In terms of defining like their aerodynamic setup and stuff. And McLaren had to throw all of theirs at hacksaw away at their bodywork and stuff to try and lever in an engine which was never supposed to go into that chassis. It was always supposed to go into the 22 car. So they've compromised massively this year, which won't have helped them. I mean, they're third, but I don't think it will have helped them in terms of like optimizing the car in a drivable, easy to get on top of manner. I mean, Lando's been driving it several years now, and he sort of said, that basically he can't drive it the way he wants to, so Ricciardo hasn't been the Ricciardo we want to see, but he will get better. It's a confidence thing. He's been looking a lot stronger in the more recent races. Not there yet, arguably. We say that as he's won a race and what have you. But
but totally understand.
In terms of consistently there, not there quite yet, but looking stronger than he did.
Yeah. I think you made some frigging great points there, to be fair, David. You made some massive points there. Just wanted to say that out in Q2 right now, you got Giovinazzi, you got Sebastian Vettel, Ocon, Alonso, and George Russell. Of course, George Russell and Alonso will be starting at the back of the grid. I think Alonso is the one at the back, right? And then it's George, or is it the other way around? I can't remember. But that is Q2 done. What are your thoughts so far with qualifying this weekend?
Well, I don't think there's been any surprises so far.
No,
they're kind of the people we sort of expected would be at in the bottom 10. I do remember
Tsunoda's in there though. Tsunoda in the top 10.
Well, we want to see it.
Yeah, I want to. I like you.
We know he has talent. We know he's capable.
Yeah,
but it's raw. It's very raw. And
it is raw.
Given the time to develop properly, he could be a very exciting talent.
Yeah,
but
I just want to see him get some
rushed
points.
We say he's been rushed in. His F2 performance last year was brilliant, so I can understand them putting him in the car. But he needs that additional season, that's for sure.
Yeah.
Go on, I mean, I would love to see him get some points. I would love to see him get some points. Like he's one of, like as David said, in F2 he was electric. I think he's someone that you can say. I feel like he's one of those guys that like you can see, like we were saying earlier about Stroll. You can see that there's a driver there. You can see that there's someone. If you put a car in front of him, and it's adjusted to how he drives, he will put in a good shift, and he can do it. Because What I don't want to see is because this is literally I was going to ask you as well. I don't want to see drivers kind of as it has been the past decade where they sort of have like a good season and then they sort of like they struggle second season, they just drop, and then we just never hear from them again. Like so I really hope he gets points. I would love to see Tsunoda get points. He's one of the guys that you just think like he's just one of those guys like you can see there's something there. You can see this that you want him to do well. So, I mean, I was going to ask you guys, like, who do you think out of this current grid, do you think should be worried about their place next year?
As in worried about not being there next year, or
not being there next year?
There? Okay, not being there next year.
I don't really see much.
I mean, the only person who basically isn't confirmed is Giovinazzi in terms of what they're doing, isn't it? He's had his flashes, but the problem is, it's like he's a junior formulas. He was a decent up-and-coming driver. He's got a good junior record, but by F1 level, everyone's got a really good junior record. You can't get that far and not be either completely massively minted or like a proper talent.
Stroll.
Well, Stroll's junior record is incredibly good, but some of that is how much were his teammates paid off to help him.
Pretty much.
I don't, this is all rumor. I don't know, but certainly if you listen to a lot of Josh Revel, there's, he's heard stuff. So, but I think the thing is, Stroll would be a lot more forgiving of if he'd done like F2 or whatever else as well and had a couple of years in that and built up properly. But it felt like he was rushed into F1, and that's sort of what we've seen. It's not like you don't feel like he's developed properly, almost.
I think so. Gio's. It's a shame because I do like him, and I hope he does. I hope he does keep his seat next year. It'll be weird to change two drivers going into the new regs, or maybe it's a smart thing. I can't quite. Well, you need experience.
The thing is, will Alpha even necessarily be there as we know them next year? Because of course there's this whole Sauber deal thing that people keep talking about of Andretti. So,
what are your thoughts? Would you like to see Andretti be the name back in Formula One?
Well, I don't want them to turn up and be like Haas.
Yeah,
I totally agree.
Because it's like Haas, this American team that are the least American thing in Formula One at the moment.
you forget they're American, isn't it? You forget it's an American team. I don't know. I think Crofty mentioned yesterday about Nikita Mazepin wanting to do well at their home GP, and I was like, oh god, yeah, of course, and it just completely threw me off. It completely threw me off. But I think next year, in terms of drivers that have to be careful not to be too comfortable, are people like Yuki Tsunoda, are people like Sebastian Vettel. As crazy as that sounds, because it can't be Stroll, isn't it? The dad is not going to drop him. It's not going to happen.
It's not going to drop.
But if Stroll does better than Sebastian next year, do you have to ask some questions? If you're the board of directors at Aston Martin, do you ask questions?
I think a lot of it with obviously Seb though is 4-time world champion, worked with some big teams, very experienced. How much does he bring to the team off the track? Because in terms
even
of
with Daniel,
knowledge or direction or whatever else.
Even when he was with Daniel, there was always like, it was just like it was constant. Like he's very much a very sort of like frictional. Like I get that you have to be that in F1. You have to realize it's not just the team; it's you as the individual driver that you have to realize that as well. But like in terms of what he brings off the track, like I feel like it's sort of like honestly after he left Ferrari, it just felt like, what's left to do? Why? Like, is there something you need to prove? Like, what is there left to prove? Like, I understand you've gotten raced with the big team, you've won your world championships. What do you? Why? like I don't get it. Like maybe you guys can enlighten me, because I think that if I'm Seb, I don't want to go out in like this.
Well,
You
I
know
think
what
that's
I
part
mean?
of the thing, isn't it? Is he doesn't feel done. What happened with Ferrari is very unsatisfying for him. So he wants to try and get involved with a team. The dream of building a team up and turning them into potential winners, or at least being like part of the stepping stones for greatness, or what have you. You know, I can imagine that being quite appealing to someone.
That's the
But I
thing,
mean,
isn't it?
the other thing
I
is,
know.
if he just enjoys racing as well, because you know that's why they do it. They love doing it.
Yeah.
So I can understand why he's there.
Yeah, I do too. I do too. I think I agree with the point that he doesn't think he's done. But I think this is, maybe he has one more shot, but Aston Martin potentially feels like the last team he could probably go to, which could surprise, long down the line, where they could actually challenge for a title. Dare I say it? Leaving Ferrari was it's weird, because I always feel like leaving Red Bull seems to bite you on the backside for some reason, and that goes for Seb and for Daniel. I don't know who regrets it more, because wow, wouldn't they love to be in the situation that they're in now, that Red Bull are in now, because it's gone faster than it has done at Ferrari. It's gone faster than it has done at Aston Martin. So that's the thing. You know, when Hamilton joined Mercedes, right, in 2013, it's like he struck just before the iron was very hot.
Yeah.
And then 2014 he's world champion again. So it's so easy. Hindsight is such a wonderful thing, and especially with Formula One, you're forever looking back, aren't you?
Well, the thing is, I mean, I don't know how much Nicky Toto and whatever else knew about the politics of the time, or how the formula was going to change and stuff. But Mercedes 2013, 2012, for a long time, had been probably the most powerful engine unit on the grid. And if you're potentially moving to the works team during a time of change, when everything's up in the air, new engine regs are coming in, and people are telling you, we're putting a lot into this, we're spending a lot of money on this now, that bet doesn't sound that unsafe. So I can quite see why, it never struck me as that much of a gamble, to be honest with you. And in retrospect, of course, that sounds like obvious, but
Yeah. You're muted, mate. I can't even. Can you hear him?
Can you hear me now?
I can't. No.
I can hear you now.
There you are.
Very surprising. So I tried to mute with my mic on here. It didn't show on StreamYard, so I went to StreamYard and muted it. But then it was muted. Well. You didn't hear me drinking, did you?
No.
Okay, all right then. That's what mattered for me.
What I wanted to ask you guys is, like, we're talking about Seb. Like, if you were Seb and you're going to leave this year or next year, say, is there a team you're looking at when these new regs come in and you're thinking, I want to go there?
The problem is he's kind of where he's at with where he's at, From you can't imagine him getting back into a bigger team. So would he want to go back further down the grid? If as I said, I think Aston are throwing a lot at the new regs, which basically with this year they took a gamble last year, basing their car on the most successful car at the time. The most successful car at the time, as we've seen with the Mercedes this year, it's struggled with this year's regs. We generally think the low rake thing, they have struggled as a result. It's something to do with the way the rear downforce is produced, and basically the low rake ones don't deal with the bits having been cut off as much. I can't remember. I have read exactly what it does. I can't remember exactly, but yeah. So, but next year it's all change again.
Yeah.
So the thing is, I genuinely think that Seb hasn't been comfortable in Formula One since the new cars came in, because he always liked a stable, planted rear end that he could make work how he wanted. And the current cars are just too big and too heavy, and they spin out like as soon as the back end goes, it just snaps, it goes completely. So he's not
Yeah.
had the control and being able to manipulate the car as much as he's wanted to. I think if we were in a different series or one where the cast suited him better, we'd see a completely different Seb. So there's no way to say. I mean, I don't know how the cars next year are going to work, whether the back end will stick better with the underfloor, aero and whatever. Not aero. Yeah, but where the aero works over the floor and stuff rather than over the top of the car. I don't know whether that will help him, whether it will hinder him, or how he'll find that to drive. It could be that Seb will turn up and have a really hard time of it and have a really rough season. It could be that Seb will magically make the car manage to do wonderful things and have his best year since 2012 or 13.
Yeah.
So. And it's sort of like until we see the cars on the track, we almost don't know what Seb we're going to have.
Yeah, it's difficult to predict which constructor is going to come out on top. It's impossible. It's like when the regulations change, I didn't see Mercedes coming out on top in that hybrid era. I couldn't have guessed it. I couldn't have guessed after when Ferrari went through their dominance, and then all of a sudden here come Red Bull, and now here come Mercedes, and it's like bloody hell. You can't guess it, can you? But by the way, in Q3 right now, 5 minutes or so to go, the top two: Perez, Verstappen, Bottas, Hamilton, and then Sainz, Leclerc, and then Ricciardo, Norris. Oh my god! It's just because I could hear the cheers when Verstappen went in front, then Perez went in front. I heard more cheers. I thought, oh dear, here we go.
The thing we have to remember about that is Bottas does as his 5-place penalty for yet another engine, doesn't he?
Yes, he does. He has got a 5-place penalty. Yes. Interesting on the whole engine stuff. Like getting penalties for using engines and whatever else. Why did Hamilton only change the ICE? Is it the internal combustion engine? I think it's called. Why did he only change that? If Toto was saying they think they're going to change the entire engine come towards the end of the season, which is where we are at, kind of. But why did he opt to do it in Turkey? Is there something I've missed that I'm not quite understanding?
I don't know, to be honest. I don't know how many of the other units he's used, because obviously you only take a penalty when you go over your allotted amount. Yes. Maybe he's still got some of the other parts available that weren't over the allotted amount. I don't know, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
But
why so many? Why such a limited amount of units? Because everybody seems to go over. Like every team has at least served a grid pace penalty.
Well, the target is that they're supposed to use X amount.
Yeah.
If they then take penalties after that, that's on them. But the goal was always that this amount should last you for the year. The fact that they haven't says a lot about, I think, how much they've expanded the calendar and the stresses and strains that the teams are under, and COVID having an effect as well, because it's obviously thrown everything up in the air a little bit, and maybe it's caused some supplier issues or various other things.
Yeah.
So it's a culmination of a lot of circumstances, but yeah.
What are your thoughts on the calendar?
Regs being written under ideal situations when we don't live in an ideal world.
That is spot on. That line right there is spot on. What do you think about the calendar next year? More races, triple headers. Why aren't we learning?
Because it's money. It's money.
Yeah.
At the end of the day.
I guess so.
It was all money, yes.
Let's be real here. Formula One is probably at its most marketable when there's two major teams fighting it out, and that's what it is right now. And they've seen this.
Yeah.
And it's money. And more circuits want races. So if they have the ability to do it, they will. And I think they're using the COVID season last year to sort of be like, okay, well, we had a weird calendar last year. Let's sort of try and compensate for that and try and give back for the fans as they're pushing it. So But it
was
is
last year.
still does, yeah, so. Yeah.
They ended up doing a compressed calendar last year, and it was like, oh wow, we can do this. And it's like the teams are like, no, we bloody can't. Get this out of your head now. But they're so obsessed with this idea. Well, we did it then. Let's do it sustained all the time. It's like not gonna work. The thing is, as a fan, when I started,
no, go ahead, David.
I mean, when I started watching F1, there were 16 races. I'm in a video call at the moment myself, sorry.
Oh, I guess I'm not allowed in here.
Oh, you're allowed in here, sure.
She can join us. Join the stream. But
yeah, no, it wasn't originally planned, sorry. Oh dear. No, I've lost track of thought. Anyway, I shall drop off and leave you guys to it anyway now.
Yeah, no problem, man. Okay. No worries. It was good to have you on, though, mate. It was good to have you on.
Yeah,
we'll do this again. Yeah?
Yeah.
No problem, man. Come, come back again, mate. Come back again for sure.
Bye-bye.
Take care, bud.
Bye.
Yeah, big up to David on there, man. I'm down to literally 40 seconds left of Q3, so this is getting pretty tight.
But as I was saying, it will be an late 13-2, early 32, early 33, late 32 lap. It's going to be. I think Perez was on a 1:33.1, wasn't it?
Yeah, he's on a 1:33.1.
So
Hamilton is that rear is just sliding all over, the track. But he's got purple sector though in the middle sector, which is I've heard over the weekend has been the place to pick up time. People are like Perez was having outstanding purple sectors, sector 2, so it's interesting. It's interesting what we'll see here. Verstappen is now the fastest sector in sector 1. Man, this is nip and tuck. Okay, so Hamilton's gone in front. Hamilton's put it on pole right now, and no more laps for him. So let's see what happens. This is intense. So Verstappen, obviously, Verstappen's done a purple first sector, second sector. God, I wonder what he's going to get.
Go on,
there.
Lewis.
Oh my God, this is interesting.
This is tense.
This is tense. Hey, listen, I can't do it. I can't do it.
This is very tense.
Oh my God, Verstappen's only done a green in the second sector, so Hamilton's second sector is faster.
Hamilton 1:33.1. 1:9.
1:33.19. Good grief.
Jeez.
Good grief.
This is razor. This is thousandths. This is going to be thousandths.
Oh yeah. This is why
Jesus Christ.
This is why this title this year is phenomenal. This race, has he done it? Has he done it? Verstappen's done it. Oh my God.
Has he done it?
Where are you? What minute are you on?
He's just putting the 1:32.9. Oh Lord.
He did a 1:32. He did a 1:32.
Oh my God. No, that's not close. That's tense. Big up, Max.
Wow. Big up to Max Verstappen. That is impressive.
That's incredible. No, that's very impressive. That
is bloody good. Let's see. Ricardo finished ahead of Norris.
Yeah.
As well. Everybody else was ahead except that top 4.
Perez P3. Fair enough.
Yeah, Perez P3. So they've sandwiched Hamilton there.
All right, turn 1 tomorrow.
Oh yeah.
Turn 1 tomorrow. Oh my God. Turn 1 tomorrow is going to be manic.
Oh yeah.
You know what the problem is? There's goddamn Brentford, Leicester. There's United. I don't know. What am I going to do? This is horrible.
No, ain't the race at like 8 p.m.
Oh God, it's US.
It's US.
Oh my God, I've completely realized it's just the US. We're good.
No, it's 11 p.m. now.
Yeah, I know. Jesus Christ. Bro, like that final poll has just turned everything out. I've just assumed this is like Spa or something. We're going to be like a 3 o'clock race. It's just
wow. Unbelievable.
Jesus Christ. 1:29. I mean, 1:32.9. Jesus Christ.
I'm sure even Hamilton saying, well, hang on a minute, where's that come from? You know, he's probably asked the question. By how
I mean,
much?
his team radio's on now. I don't know what he's saying because I've got it muted, but I assume. But
Good
look at that,
grief.
2/10.
Good grief.
That's
Bloody
one hell of
hell.
a. That's one hell of a lap.
It is. Fair play to him.
Yeah,
Fair
no.
play to Max Verstappen. Well done.
I mean, I'll admit this, Lewis fanboy through and through, but you got to. Jeez.
Mate, it's what we're witnessing this year.
Yeah, it's
What
mental.
we're witnessing this year is just it's not the same.
No, this isn't Hamilton Boss
Yeah.
House. This is real.
Yeah, it is real.
Are they going to daff up? Let's have a look. Are they just going to shrug each other off?
This will be interesting.
This will be very interesting. Go on. I know this doesn't matter for anything, but it's so fascinating. Nah, Lewis has just walked off.
I was gonna say Lewis ain't even there, is he?
Yeah, Lewis ain't even there. Lewis just went.
Oh.
Look, he's gone back to
I don't even want to. You see that walk? that walk.
He's off.
There's Angela
like,
as well, ready to consolidate him, man. Yo.
He's probably muttering to himself, 132.9. What the?
Where did that come from? 132.9. You guys told me it would be a 133.5. It would be good. Wow.
130. That's a mental lap.
Look,
I don't think anyone's done that in practice either.
I don't think so. No, I don't think so. Wait. No, Leclerc has set the record in Austin. I think he's got a 132 something. I think Leclerc has the fastest ever lap there. But they just had Perez on camera, which is the difference. I think that's one thing. Oh, man, Hamilton is not. He does not want to know. He does not want to know.
He's pissed.
If he doesn't have to talk to anybody, he wouldn't. Jeez,
bro.
Look,
honestly, I can't wait for turn one. Turn one is going to be mental.
What's changed in this Red Bull car, though? I still can't get my head around it because, as you said, the momentum was swinging the other way.
Yeah.
Yes, Max is in the lead of the championship, sure, but I did not. With the way the last couple of races have gone, you got Sochi, you had Turkey. I'm a bit like,
man, I'm still pissed about Turkey, man. God damn it.
Well, the Hamilton strategy.
Not the Hamilton, not just the Hamilton, just Lando.
Oh, now don't.
That's what I'm saying. Like, you know what I'm talking about.
That hurt me, man.
That hurt.
That hurt.
Like,
that friggin' hurt.
He was out on his legs. It's like they just cut him. Oh.
Yeah.
Oh, that shit hurt.
But
leaving
him to make the decision, I think, was beyond ridiculous. It should have never been left him. It should have never been left to him to make that decision.
Like in the grand scheme of things, I wanted Lewis to win, but my heart was just like, no, come on, please, just take P2. Don't just let him be, man.
Yeah.
You remember, even at the last 10 laps, Lewis was coming. He was hunting.
He was.
That.
He absolutely was. I mean, man, wow. Max Verstappen, people, if you're joining us just now, has taken pole position at the United States Grand Prix. He's giving his interviews now. We can't believe how quick he was. The fact we've gone down
not with Danica. Not with Danica. Come on, man. Danica, he's gonna dwarf her, man. This is
Listen, man. Female lives matter. You know them ones. Like you got to let the women get involved, man.
Nah. I love Danica.
Let the women get involved.
She did bits. She did bits in NASCAR. But still, it's funny, man. Do you remember that shot with the thingy with who was it? It was It was when I was starting to talk to you. They had a shot with her in the middle, and she was like dwarfed. Either side. I can't remember who it was. But
mate,
it's the other day.
You got listen. She has to get the plug in, man. We're in the United States, boy. We got to get that plug in very quickly,
sure.
no matter how it comes, man. But wow, it's interesting as well. They're showing what kind of tires that people use in Q2. That's a very interesting rule, isn't it? Whatever you use in Q2 is the one that you use in the race, and it's very, very interesting. It kind of spices things up. Sergio Perez as well doing his interviews. Man, this will be interesting because obviously Max, Lewis, then you've got Perez, and then Bottas. Like you said, turn one. Oh, get your popcorn, guys. Get your popcorn.
I would not be surprised to see Perez come out with the slipstream just to try something.
I think, yeah.
I would not be surprised at all.
You know what? You're absolutely right. That wouldn't surprise me in the slightest if Perez just comes out the blocks, and all of a sudden it's like, okay. But man, wow, that is qualifying, man. That is qualifying. What are your takes from this session? What are you sort of thinking going towards tomorrow night in the Grand Prix?
I think I've got three main things. One is, as we've just said, turn one is going to determine a lot of strategy because of the bunching, because it's not because the rest of the pack is just by a team, but like because they've been split by Perez, the Mercedes.
Yeah.
So turn one is going to determine a lot of strategies. Second, I want to see Tsunoda get points. I really hope he does. I think I don't know. I really do because like he's managed to sneak into Q3. Like he's managed to do something. If they can, I think this. If I'm not mistaken, this is a 2-stop, isn't it?
Yes.
The US.
Well,
it's a 2.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah, it is. I don't think you can do it on a 1. I don't think you can do it on a 1.
With times like that, you know, the times on the race will probably be like the 1:30, 37 and 8s and whatever. So yeah, you will be 2-stopping with more fuel and everything else in the car.
So
I think so. 53 laps, 56 laps, something like that.
I think it's 56. Yeah, but like, if they can just like, I don't want to see because like if you look at Q3, Tsunoda was on softs. Which is I found very interesting because like it's I wouldn't think that he would want to think that he's going to go jump. So why would you go for soft straight out? So
I don't know why he would.
Yeah, exactly.
I don't know why he would.
Yeah, it's a bit strange, but like unless they thought, you know what, we're just going to go for it. This is our qualifying. We're going to break that we're going to come like P5 or something.
Yeah.
Like. But it did nothing. now they're P10 after using some softs. So,
I mean, Gasly's a bit surprising because Gasly's always been someone that's done surprisingly good, right, on quali. And to see him in 9th, you would say probably, you know what, AlphaTauri would be happy with 9th and 10th. But I think again because of the precedent he's set so far, it's actually quite surprising that he's actually only 9th. So,
I mean. With Gasly, my issue with Gasly is, I feel like in race he gets. Do you remember when Grosjean was having that period when it was sort of like he would either go on these mad streaks of races where he'd be great, and then he'd have these mad streaks where he'd just be crashing all the time.
Yes.
Like Gasly, what Gasly does is like I just don't think he has the in race management just to like pull out from qualifying to, okay, I'm gonna get points.
Yeah.
I just like it worries me. It's not. I don't have the same sort of like crash mentality that I would have with Grosjean, but like with Gasly, it's sort of like I just don't feel like he manages races well, which is my issue with him. Like I feel because I think he does have the ability to actually, you know, take points consistently, which I don't feel like he has been.
He hasn't.
So it just worries because there's been a lot of qualifying. Like I remember, I think Spain he qualified well, if I remember correctly. I mean, there's been a couple of races where you've been like, okay, convert and go and get some points because you're good enough for it, and he just hasn't. And it's just
is it because though our concept of AlphaTauri is probably far too higher than what it actually is.
Maybe
because it is it's a Toro Rosso at the end of the day.
It is a Toro Rosso, yeah. Like you just remove the Toro Rosso name and you forget that this is just.
You do forget, don't you?
You forget, yeah. Because like
true.
Like even like for me Toro Rosso.
Yeah.
Like whenever I think of Toro Rosso, I think of Max in the Toro Rosso. Like when he was there, and then you actually had. Like it didn't feel like a B team. They were competing for points. Like with Alpha, it just feels like they're just going to be circling. It doesn't really feel like they're actually doing it much. It just feels like they're just there. like just to like not in terms of like a backfield, but like they're in the midfield, but it's sort of like they're just there to be in the midfield. They don't want us. They don't really see them going and doing anything with it, which is
unless they get
Mm.
bought out, don't they, and then
Mm.
become their own team? Because at the end of the day, the battery pack is to Red Bull, so
That's it.
it's only so far it could go. I almost think it's unfair that there's such teams like this that exist, because they will never be somebody who competes with Red Bull. They just won't let that happen.
They just won't. Why not have an F2 team? If you want that, make it an F2 team. Like, why?
Don't they have an F2 team? Red
Do they?
Bull. I thought Red Bull had. Oh, sorry.
Just make an F2 them an F2 team, an F3 team. It's just not like I don't see the point in having a team that's not going to be competing for a championship. That doesn't want that ultimate ambition is not to compete for a championship. Like every team should have that ambition.
Yeah. Big up Martin. He said,
"This is the thing. This is exactly the point. This is the point. This is exactly what it is.
Oh my
exactly
god!
What it is.
Big up Martin, man. That is funny. That is funny. I can't lie. I got a question for you all in the chat as well as yourself, Karen. Who's been impressive so far in quali today? Who impressed you the most
in qualifying? It's got to be Sonoda, surely.
Making the top 10.
To make the top 10 with that car, I think that's pretty impressive.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm trying to think. Is anyone else? No, everything else is like as David was saying, everything's been pretty standard. Like no one's like sort of had a mare or
It's not been like whoa, there's not been any fireworks as such, except for the top two, of course. But because I have to go with Danny Ricciardo because Martin says Checo definitely
cool.
to be third, and we were saying earlier that his qualifying is not his strong point, definitely nowhere near his strong point. So to be right in that mix, sandwiched between two Mercedes, second row of the grid, do you know what I mean? Well, obviously Bottas, I don't think we'll start from there anyway. So there is that. He's normally shocking in quality. Yeah, that's a very good point. That's a very fair point by Martin. I think you're right. Me, I'll go with Danny Ricciardo. As much as I do agree with the Checo one, I go with Danny Ricciardo for finishing ahead of Norris. Norris is kind of, when you look at it long term and throughout the season, has kind of slapped up Danny Ricciardo. And I mean, I'm trying to be nice. At the end of the day, who's got the race win this year? That's the thing.
True.
Ricciardo will turn around and say, hey, hang on a minute.
It should have been Turkey, man.
But listen, Norris should have definitely won at least one.
It should have been Turkey. It was Turkey. That was the one.
Absolutely. So, people have said Checo, you said Yuki Tsunoda, and I've gone with Danny Ricciardo. How about disappointment? Who's disappointed you the most from what you've seen? Bearing in mind, we've got no Alpines in Q3. We've got no Aston Martins. Do you think Bottas? Do you have anything to say on Bottas as such? Do you think Gasly should be further up the grid, or where would you look in terms of
Bottas is Bottas. He's never going to come more than second or third. He's just going to sit in his place. He knows his place. He's the third guy on the grid or the second guy on the grid. That's his thing. Like he knows his place. He knows where he is. He knows who he is. And like, I feel. See, I want to say Vettel, but that just feels like I just hate the guy. But like,
we know it's not that. We know it's not.
It's not. But like, I just feel like he's just there. Like I just like because there's no one. I don't think there's anyone that is like dropped horribly.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It feels weird.
Stroll being out in Q1. That's
a good point. But I do hate Stroll, so that does help.
You hate Stroll?
I just don't like him, man. I don't like the fact that his dad just did everything. He didn't have an F2 career. He's just a little prick. I can't lie. Like he's just not.
You're not a Stroll guy.
He's not a Stroll guy. He can stroll away for like it's just not. It's not the one for me.
That is funny. You're not a fan, yeah?
I mean, what do you think of Stroll? What do you think of Stroll? I mean, I feel like he's too cocky, man.
He might be too cocky for sure, but I genuinely think he's underrated. Like genuinely,
he's a good driver. He's a good driver.
So,
I just don't like. I just don't like the guy.
yeah, when it comes to like in terms of personal, like
Mm.
there's nothing great there for me to like. Don't
No.
get me wrong, but because he's a quick driver, I'm intrigued by him. He disappoints me so much though. He frustrates the hell out of me because I think because all the noise is about the money, his dad, and everything else. Then I try to sort of look differently to him and be like, hang on a minute, there's a quick driver in there, and every time I try to big him up, he lets me down. So that's my beef with Stroll, if anything.
Yeah, no, I get that because like, no, because the thing is, when he was at Williams and he came through, he looked quick. I'll give you that. Like he did look very quick, and that Williams team's a mess. Like he that.
At Williams' team,
you know what I mean. It was a mess. It was a complete and utter mess.
It is an absolute mess. I'll tell you what. For tomorrow, though, give me your podium predictions. Go from third, second, and then tell me who your winner is. And those in the comments and those in the chat, let me know who is third, second, and first for tomorrow's race. Because this is a hard podium to pick out.
Yeah, it's a very
friggin'
hard one.
difficult.
I actually think Perez wins this. I think Perez might win this. I don't know why, but I have this feeling like he's been good all weekend. He qualified well. I think he might pull something out. I think Perez. I mean, I would say probably. Don't kill me, Max Lewis Perez. That hurts to say.
What,
but
Max
like,
in third?
Yeah, I think
Max in third.
It would be hard to because I just think. I think Lewis has it on Max right now. I mean, I know he qualified very well right now today, but like, I just feel like turn one's going to determine this race a lot of it. So even if I think, I can say like it's either going to be. I think either. No, I'm going to stick with it. That was my first. No, I'm going to stick with it because like, what do you think? Because I think maybe there's only two possibilities for me. I think it could be a Max Perez 1-2 or Lewis splits the Red Bulls. Because he's Lewis.
What, man? Do you know what? I think this is just a bold prediction because what the hell, yeah?
Yeah.
Max and Lewis crash out in turn one.
Cool.
I'm dead ass. I think Max.
Oh my god!
It's like
I can see it.
Lap one, I can literally see the US Grand Prix sort of not be disappointed. I mean, we'll be disappointed because we don't have another continuation of the title race. However, we have got now it's up for grabs. You got Perez, you got Bottas, you've got Norris, you got Ricciardo, you got the Ferraris. It will be an absolute mix amongst that lot. I think lap one, there will be a safety car out there because Max and Lewis. Both those elbows are going to be out, and no one is barging. Nobody is letting anybody through, and I think that will cause a collision.
Who's got the turn on turn one? Who's got the lane on turn one?
Because it's a left turn, isn't it?
Yeah, it's a left turn. It'll be Max, won't it?
I don't know. I don't know if Max. I don't know if no, first place is on the right, isn't it? Why do I have a feeling the front? Yeah.
No, you're right. Yeah. It's like that, isn't it?
Yeah.
Okay. So Lewis will have the lane.
Yeah, Lewis will have the lane, which makes this even more spicier, right? Or you get a situation because I don't know if you ever watched the starts of the previous US Grand Prix.
Yeah.
People love. They always first place always turns into the racing line. Like almost towards trying to cover more so. In fact, they don't need to, but they're always trying to cover.
If that case, second is better. Second is even better than first. So you have the lane. Like
yeah, that's the thing. Yeah, Lewis has the inside. Lewis's second place will be closer to the left turn. Yeah, I think. Yeah, Martin. Yeah, big up Martin. Yeah, he's saying it as well. Lewis has the inside, so this is going to cause more beef than anything. And what
this might be even better for him.
Sure. Well, I think it's better for Lewis. I think starting second might be better. But then Max is going to come over to cover. Off you go, and then bang. They won't keep it together. It'll be
Silverstone.
Yeah?
It'll be Silverstone.
Oh, God. I don't want it. Because that's the thing. Silverstone, I was like, oh, my God, look what's happened.
Yeah.
But then I'm like, oh, no, wait. Oh, no, hang on. What? That's it now. No points changed that day.
Mm.
Yeah, Max won't give him the space. That's what I'm saying.
Mm.
Unlike Nico in 2015, yeah.
This is what I'm saying.
No, Max won't give him the space. I totally agree with that, and that's why I think there'll be a safety car lap 1, collision lap 1. Therefore, Sergio Perez takes the Grand Prix. Second place will be.
Say it with Jess. Go on.
Second place will be Valtteri Bottas, and third place will be Lando Norris.
Yeah, go on. Yeah,
that's my top 3.
Yeah,
that's my top 3. I didn't realize I didn't want a Hamilton, Verstappen 1 and 2. I didn't realize I didn't want those on the front row. Obviously, you want them on the front row every weekend, but then now it's just dawned on me. Hang on a minute, these are not going to behave, are they?
No,
they're gonna ruin it for us. They're not going to behave.
Everyone, yeah.
We're not going to have any battle.
It's gonna
you're right.
It's gonna
Silverstone all over again, as you said.
It's gonna be Silverstone. Jesus Christ!
It's mental. It's absolutely mental.
It's gonna be. Let's just get through turn 1, people. Let's just calm. Get through turn 1.
Yeah,
and everything will be fine. But
because what we want is racing, don't we? And the thing is, if they get through the first few corners and turns rather, then I think we're gonna have a great battle. But I think man, they're gonna be too hot going into the first turn. They're gonna be way too hot. So I worry about that. That's just my concern. Perez will be on the front. Will be leading the race, winning the race. Bottas, Norris. Bottas has the grid penalty though, so he's starting.
Yeah.
Where is he? He finished 3rd. He's starting 8th. 8th then. Wait a minute.
Who finished? Who finished 4th?
4th was Leclerc. So he moves up to 3rd. Leclerc moves up to 3rd. Oh crap! Do I rule out the Ferrari? Do I rule out the Ferraris? Because everybody paired up, didn't they?
Yeah, everyone paired up.
Everyone paired up except the front 4. But yeah, Leclerc, Sainz, Ricciardo, Norris. Sainz is a good race starter as well, isn't he? He's not bad.
Yeah,
got it measured. Yeah, I mean, honestly,
do you know what it is? Who's behind Lewis? As in, it'll be Leclerc behind Lewis, won't it?
It will be Perez. Perez is right behind Perez. Oh, sorry, you mean like that? Apologies.
Yeah.
That is Leclerc now.
No, but Leclerc came 4th to be 3rd now, won't he?
All right. Okay. So that means it's Sainz.
Sainz, yeah. So I can actually see Sainz coming out of this very, very well, because if Max and Lewis come together, and then Sainz is the inside.
Yeah, Sainz. If I'm Sainz, you got to play chess here. Pick your moment and then take full advantage of it, because those two at the front will be messing around with each other, and you're on the inside lane. You've got Perez, who you could worry about, and Leclerc, but they're not on the good side, are they? So that'll be interesting. That'll be interesting. I must admit, man, I'm looking forward to it, man.
Yeah,
looking forward to it. Looking forward to it.
It's gonna be a mad day tomorrow.
Oh, it's gonna be mental. Like you were saying there, you got the West Ham Spurs. Yeah.
No. Brentford, Leicester, fam.
Is that at the same time?
I think so, bro. I like watching Tottenham. Come on. What we
I
doing?
I like watching West Ham.
But Brentford, man.
I know. Brentford's the hipster choice right now.
This is what I'm saying.
Listen, if I can see Brendan Rodgers take some defeats, I'll take that any day. But yeah. So anyway, you got that. I'll have both screens. To be fair, I'll have both screens for that. And then it's the
big one.
United Liverpool, isn't it? After that, which I'm hoping to God, right? I'm not gonna lie. I want to see Liverpool lay the smack down on Manchester United.
I'll say this right now. I said it before the beginning of the season. We're finishing above them. We
above
are
who? United.
Yeah, 100%. 100%. I said that before the season.
I owe you a meal. If that happens, we are going for a meal. I tell you that now. What I would do to finish above Manchester United. By the way, I hate Spurs Sorry, no, I hate United more than I hate Spurs.
I think we all do. I think from my era, because I'm 31 now, so my era we
Right.
all
Oh,
hate
we're the same
United.
age. We're the exact same age.
We all hate United more than Spurs. Like Spurs were nothing to us. Like who we were going up against, Anderton, like Jamie Redknapp. Like
Man's an Anderton.
it
Oh
was
my
like
god.
Jamie Redknapp. Like no, thank you.
They went through
I'm good.
they went through some horrible stints, didn't they? They went through some awful stints, like
Bro,
Red Rob and these
they hired Wande Ramos. You remember Wande Ramos?
Ramos, I cannot forget. You know what's funny? I watched an interview, you know, the Retro Sky Sports.
Yeah.
I watched the interview of Tim Sherwood when they got battered at Chelsea, and then he was just like gutless, no heart, lack desire. He just ranted like that. I was dying laughing.
It was like he put that gilet back on.
Yeah.
Like,
the gilet. How can I forget? Oh, the gilet.
oh,
The gilet is mad. But yeah, it's a lot to work on. And
who's your driver of the day for tomorrow? Do you think?
Driver of the day tomorrow, Fernando Alonso. Just when you think he's beaten, the man's like the Undertaker. He does not rest. He does not rest. I think for me it will be Fernando Alonso because he's at a bit of a deficit. So
it's hard to bet against him. It's always hard to bet against him.
And because he had a rubbish practice, he had to change his car. His car was leaking oil or something like that in practice one. So just when all the cards are stacked against him, he somehow does whatever judge it is. He does something. And I'm like, damn, how did you do it again, Fernando?
I will be surprised if he doesn't get points. That's how inevitable that man is.
Exactly.
I mean, I just have to go to my heart. I want Lando to get driver of the day. I want him to get a podium. Just let me just give me some Lando. Please.
Any McLaren driver, I am here for it, mate. I am here for all the driver of the days.
I just want to see Lando because the guy people that don't watch F1 always ask me, like, everyone's like, oh, but you like Lewis, what's with this Lando? You just don't get it. You don't get it. This is our guy. It's just like he's the one. He's gonna be he's gonna be something special. I really feel like he's gonna be something. I hope
totally
he stays at McLaren.
The thing that surprised me the most about him is his growth. It's his maturity. It's not to take it back to football, but the Szczesny when Szczesny came, and then he kind of like all of a sudden became the number one. It was the shoulders were big, you know what I'm saying? Like, okay, albeit he had his competition was Almunia and Fabianski.
Yeah.
I mean, it's not difficult, but nonetheless, he still like shocked the hell out of me. I thought, wow, holy smokes, this is somebody now taking the reins. Lando Norris is telling guys, I'm the best driver in McLaren. I don't care who you bring in, whether it is Science or whether it is Ricardo. But Science, I think, has taught him a lot, psychologically, without indirectly, let's say. He's sort of watched Science and thought, I can't get schooled by anyone. I must be the best. And I love his determination. I love the fact that he works with the team. I love the fact that he stays behind and he does, whether he's clearing up or whether he's just sitting there trying to get the knowledge of what do I need to do to be better. He drinks this stuff. You know what I'm saying? He sleeps it. So fair play to the kid, man. I hope he does frigging well, man. I hope he becomes Formula One world champion in a McLaren for sure.
Yeah, I tell you, like, if we're talking football, he's the way I describe to Arsenal fans is like he feels like Ramsdale. He feels like that kid. Like he feels like that kid that you just want to do well now. Like you've seen him, you see how passionate it is. You're just rooting for him.
Everyone's rooting for him for sure. It's for sure because especially before both of these people came to the team, it's like, what? Who's this? Why are we getting this? Why are we doing that? And then as soon as he arrived, everyone's behind him. Everyone's behind him. And I think McLaren is such a British fan-led team, and then to have a British driver in there, it's almost like it's a no-brainer. It's a no-brainer. But yeah, man. Look, bro. Thank you for coming on the stream. I'm thinking we should wrap up.
Yeah, for sure.
I'll be back on tomorrow night for the race, so that should be interesting. Honestly, lap one is just gonna be like
Bro, I don't even want to think about it.
I don't want to think about it. I'm having anxiety thinking about it for sure.
Yeah, it was great having a chat, mate.
No, honestly, respect for coming through, and big up to David as well for being on the stream earlier. Big up to everybody that's watched the stream tonight. We've been going on hour and 50 minutes almost. Bloody hell! These things just go fast. But yeah, big up to everyone in the comment section. Shout out to Martin and David, of course, Karen, yourself, Hugo, Chowdhury. There's a lot of people who've commented on today. Don't forget to hit the like button as well. Subscribe to the channel if you like this kind of content. Hit the bell. And with that, ladies and gentlemen, until tomorrow night, it is lights out. All right, peace.
Peace.